Hi.
Hey, babe.
What's that?
So here we are in the living room. How was your day?
Well, you were with
I'm
me.
going to ask you like I haven't been with you
The
for
last,
like 2 weeks now or so. How
yeah.
far are we in this thing?
Yeah, we took that bike ride today. That was fun.
Yeah, we took a bike ride.
About almost
Nice.
9 miles.
Yeah. Lots of people on the bike rides. Lots of people out.
It was
Lots of people
nice.
getting the exercise right now.
Yeah. It was the least packed trail that I think I've seen though, or
Oh, yeah.
street.
Well, I don't know if everybody knows, but this powerhouse ran a 10K.
Wow.
Not just once, but like twice.
Well, so
Why don't you tell
here's
them
the thing.
what that's about?
So I decided in February that I was going to run a 10K, and I signed up for the Cary Greenway 10K, March 29th. Well, as we all know, that was canceled. But I just had been training and working on it, so I figured I might as well just give myself a route and a course. And 3 days before, I went out to just sort of test it, be like, I'm just gonna run like 5 miles, 5.5 miles. I got so close to 6 miles, I was like, I'm just doing it, I'm finishing it. And so I ran it then. And then on the 29th, at the time I was supposed to actually be running the Cary Parkway 10K, I ran it. It was so fun. I'm so accomplished.
How many times in your life have you ran a 10K?
That was the time.
That was
it.
the time.
Yep, that was the one.
Well, there's 2 times.
Well, those were the 2 times.
2 times.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, man, that's good.
I've
You
never
made a goal
run.
and you stuck with it. You weren't going to let quarantine get you down.
I'm telling you, if you set your mind to it, you can do it, y'all. That's real. But I had never run more than 5 miles in my entire life.
That's amazing.
Well, you know.
Old dog can learn new tricks, can't they?
You calling me old?
Well, I cannot learn new tricks like that, apparently. I mean, 2 miles is about all that I can give you.
Well,
That's like a accomplishment for me. Like that's about as high as I think I've ever reached when it comes to the running game.
you are just built differently. Like you're
big boned. You're not fat. You're big boned.
Well, that's our story. But no, I just mean you're meant to do like weights and like things like that, not long distance running.
You're like a caveman.
Yeah. As a pirate, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, this content is really so interesting. And I'm really sorry that we're going to have to cut this off a little short, this content, and switch directions to this one. Well, this is a good opportunity, right? Just to talk about you and get to know you and get to know your home life. I think everybody around here, Lauren Van Hamert and I, we were talking earlier before we started going on that I think a lot of people know you as Theater Ollie's producer. That's what this stage of life is, but you have a lot of other things that you've done in your life. So why don't you just give everybody the bullet point overview of Lauren Kennedy's life to this moment right here.
Oh my God, from born.
Sure. Where were you born?
When or where?
Where?
I was born at Rex Hospital.
Yes,
and if anybody lives in Raleigh, Rex Hospital used to be the corner of St. Mary's and Wade Avenue, and that brick building is now a government building, but it was Rex back in the day.
When the dinosaurs were
here. When they roamed the earth.
Yeah.
Back in the
1800s. They didn't have cars then, did they?
No, they didn't. No, just horse and buggy kind of stuff. But yes, I was born at Rex Hospital, born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina. I mean, I talk about it quite a lot. At least I feel like I hear myself saying this a lot.
I feel like I hear you saying that a lot.
You could probably just say it with me. Let's just do the story.
I just can't wait to get to the part of this interview where we talk about the stories that you tell that I've heard about at least 5,000 times now, but everybody else can hear for the first time.
You just have to have your good face.
Excited.
You have to have a face
oh, that's really funny.
You laugh.
Oh my God, it gets better every time.
Okay. Well, I can't wait.
Okay, so you're born. You're born. That's a good start.
So I grew up right here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I grew up doing shows at the North Carolina Theater. Should I be looking at the camera?
Yeah, you should probably. I know all this.
So I grew up going to the North Carolina Theater summer camps and things like that.
Oh,
it was
that's
very
way too far now.
instrumental.
Where'd you go to elementary school?
Oh, well, I started. I went to kindergarten to Sherwood Bates.
There you go.
But that doesn't.
Anybody remember that?
Well, you might have. Some people do. I also went to preschool at St. Michael's, which is, as you know, right around the corner from our house.
Our neighbors.
And then I went to Ravenscroft for elementary school until 6th grade.
That's so cute.
And then I moved over to Daniels. My parents moved us back to public school, and I went to Daniels Middle School,
Oh.
and then I went to Broughton High School,
Oh.
and then after that, I went to the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music for musical theater to get a BFA. Which, if you are a student in college or in high school, absolutely finish school, 100% get your degree. But
do as she says, not as she does.
I did not. I did not end up finishing my degree at CCM because I was super lucky, and an agent came to, like the seniors got to sing for this agent, and there was enough time left over, and so all the underclassmen put their name in a hat, and and they pulled out 2 names, and one of the names was mine, and I got to sing for him. By the way, he's still my agent to this day, so that's kind of cool. Didn't
they just post a little something about this thing?
CCM.
Maybe
CCM
somebody's
did.
watching. Sorry, CCM.
Hey, CCM. I got a lot out of the school, even though I didn't spend the whole 4 years there, but I loved being there. It taught me so much. But I ended up singing for this agent, and then that summer, it was at the end of the year. So that summer, he was like, "Hey, Lauren," he called me and he was like, "Hey, Lauren, what are you doing? Can you get yourself to New York and come audition for the understudy for Ellen and Miss Saigon?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll figure that out." And so
let me check my schedule. I don't know.
It was cool though.
I had lunch at the Carnegie Deli that day. I don't know.
Oh, I was in Raleigh, so I was absolutely not at the Carnegie Deli. But the cool thing is that I had spent a lot of time working at these shows at the North Carolina Theater, working with professional actors and dancers and stuff from New York, and I had met some friends, and so a couple friends that I had worked with at NCT let me stay with them that weekend while I had this audition. And so while I was there, my agent said, "Hey, Lauren, while you're here, I know you're here for the next couple of days, they're doing an open call for Sunset Boulevard, and I'll make sure that the casting people at least hear you sing." Which was kind of an empty promise because there was no way he could have actually done that because we got tight. So that was back in the day when you had to go in like 25 at the time. And they looked you down the line and they were like, "You look like what we were looking for." They don't do that anymore. That's like, no go. But that's how old I am. And so I got asked to stay.
Did you ever get typed out?
No, I didn't. No, well, that was the only time I went to a call like that.
Yeah, right.
Because I was really lucky and got signed with this particular agent, and there I was. So I got typed in, and then I got to stay, and I got to sing my 32 bars. And
was it your own song, or was it from the show?
I sang "Rainbow High" from Evita.
Yeah, can you hear a little?
No, absolutely not. So inappropriate. Just like I was like 19. What was I thinking? Rainbow High, and then I was asked to stay and dance, and then I got a call back 2 weeks later. I had to fly back and was like, I think we auditioned on the Marriott Marquis stage randomly.
Yeah.
And Trevor Nunn, Angela Weber, and everybody was there. And I ended up booking the show. Yeah, they're a little known composer.
I'll look them up.
Okay, good. And then I booked the show, and that was that. Like history was, made.
How old?
19.
Yeah.
And then I went to LA to do the American premiere with starring Glenn Close.
Yeah.
And my vocal idol, Judy Kuhn, which was way more exciting to me than Glenn Close, even though that was incredible too, of course, because she was a movie star. But Judy Kuhn,
we were so close to each other yet so far when you were in LA.
Yeah, I think you were living in the Oakwoods at the time, maybe, and I was.
No, I'm not even sure I made it that far yet. I'm pretty sure I was just like about 12 years old.
No, well, that's what I mean.
I'm from San Diego and did a little acting in LA as a child.
I'm going to need to interrupt here.
Nothing of notes.
And let you know that he was on Kids Incorporated.
Nobody even knows what that is, though.
They're going to go Google it right now. They're going to go on YouTube and look
That's probably taken down.
So, by the way, Kids Incorporated was shooting when I was there, but I was, of course, 19 and he was 12. We did not meet until many, many years later.
But I saw when I would go to LA for auditions, I would see the sign for Sunset Boulevard on the Amundsen. It was at the Amundsen, right?
No, it was at the Schubert, which is now
Schubert,
down.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are good times. So that was the beginning of my career. Like I was
our closest proximity.
Yeah, until we lived in New York for 15 years at the same time.
Well, that's true. Yeah. So you have been here. You're from here. You've been around here a long time. You know a lot of people around here. Who are some of the people that have gone on to do awesome things in New York, LA, around the country that originated? You have like your personal relationships that you were at, like the dinner theater down the street.
Well, I mean that is the crazy thing
And
about
what's the
Raleigh.
pool of people that have?
Well, I obviously there must be something like in the water, because there's a lot of awesome people who have come from Raleigh and have gone on to do awesome things. Like first and foremost, I have to say Beth Level, because she was my idol. I looked up to her and I did shows with her when I was in high school, and she was starring in all the North Carolina theater shows. Also, Eric Woodall and I did shows together at Village Dinner Theater when we were children.
Village Dinner Theater.
Yeah, for a show we did. Eric Woodall is now the producing artistic director of theater of North Carolina Theater, and was a casting director in New York and for Broadway for many years. He was Kurt Von Trapp, and I was Gretel Von Trapp.
Probably the peak of his career, really.
He was really very good.
I bet he thinks so.
He has a Valentine that I gave him. It says, "Dear Eric, I like you very much.
Huh.
Love, Lauren."
Interesting. If only.
I found that hilarious. I like you very much. I was very I'm not giving it all away.
No.
And then there's Sharon Lawrence, who people should know from like massive television shows, including NYPD Blue. Was a big one for her.
Shameless.
Also, she's dipped on Broadway. She was in Cabaret and did on Rip on Broadway.
Yeah.
She also went to Broughton High School. And then, of course, Evan Rachel Wood. Hello.
Yes.
Clay Aiken. Duh.
Yeah.
Ariana DeBose. Hello.
Yeah.
John Arthur Green, who's going to be on Living Room Live on Friday. Blog. And who else? God, so many people.
Yeah.
It's just it was a great place for me to grow up and sort of hone my talent and my craft. Yeah. For sure.
It's funny how it seems like some people are starting to come back now too, huh? I mean, you and Eric certainly. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's that relationship into now? I mean, there's been like 3 distinct chapters with somebody like him.
With my friendship with Eric.
In your life.
Yeah, well.
And you have others similar to that, but for example.
I mean, well, we reconnected in New York. He cast me in Spamalot. I mean, randomly. You know, he was working for Tara Rubin, and he was not in my original call, but he was at my callback when I went in for Mike Nichols. And that just reminds me, you asked me to tell my whole career, and I didn't do that.
But it's okay.
But okay. So anyway, so I played the Lady of the Lake. I ended up getting that job to replace Sada Ramirez in Spamalot on Broadway, which was a crazy time. But Eric was very instrumental. He was part of that experience for me, and we really started reconnecting after that. And I started hiring him to be a director and come work at Theater Raleigh once I took over this sort of new part of my life.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
He came down every season, and I always used to say, the best shows we do, Eric Woodall directs, the best shows we do. His artistic level and integrity is just so high and so great, so collaborative. And we both have those North Carolina theater roots. And so when Casey Hutchins ended up leaving and, continuing her amazing Broadway career, Elizabeth Doran asked him to step in, and here he is.
Yeah, it's so wild how you have so much history with so many people, like even like your parents, like meeting people that your parents have known since they were like 5.
Well, yeah.
Because it is just so the opposite experience that I have. Like I just don't have that close of contact. If you ever want to meet anybody in Lauren Kennedy's circle, just go to Target.
Well,
go to Target. Go to Target with this one.
It's so true.
And I don't know, at least 5 to 10 people that you'll run into that they knew you since they babysat you or something like that.
Yeah, or we went to high school, or my mom went to high school with their mom.
And they're all coming to the theater too, which is lovely. And they're all just kind of like in this other chapter of it all.
That's neat. That's good.
Okay, so we'll continue talking about the rest of the stuff, and we're gonna mix this with my favorite stories. So you've done a few Broadway shows. Yeah, you've got a couple of them on your belt. If you ever go and see like a Lauren Kennedy concert or show, it's a really fun time. She's a very entertaining person, very infectious personality.
You're making fun of me right now.
And you will hear some stories that will they're just knee slappers, and they will just get you. But when you've heard them for about 5,000 times, I wanted to recite all of her go-to stories by heart and try to do that, but I feel like it'll just have better impact if you do it. So I'm just going to run through them. These are the 3 stories you get if you ever go to the show, because you're not going to go to one right now because we're all in our living room. So this is your best version. You get when she was in Les Mis, her person I just Fontaine on Les Mis, she was smiling while she was dying. The director had to note her, I'm not smiling while you're dying. She's got a great Mike Nichols story where he berated her just like the old school directors and made her cry, and it gave her her best performance. And it was amazing. It was like mind blowing, like a mic drop, breakthrough. Should have won the Tony for that one. What was the other one? Oh, the flushing down the toilet. Sunset Boulevard, flushing down the toilet. Yeah, microphone flushing down the toilet.
Should I?
So why don't you go for it? So that's what you have to look forward to for the next couple minutes.
I'm going to try to tell them fast. All right. Well, the Les Mis
they're
story.
Really good stories.
The Les Mis story is a good one, and it's only slightly zhuzhed up. But
okay, Les Mis.
really
Tell us, Les Mis. What year? What role?
So in 2003, right at the very end of its run, I mean, they were like begging people to come see it at that point, and they were getting ready to close.
The end of its run.
The first time. I like to say, I was the only.
That's vintage.
I was the only actress who had not been in it, so they were like, "Fine, we'll use Lauren. Fine, she can be Fontaine."
This is the show part.
And so I got to play Fontaine, which was amazing. I never thought I was going to be in Les Mis. It just never felt like it was going to be the show that I would do. But I was really impacted by when I saw it. When I think it was 12.
Yeah. Well, it was like, it's, why so many of us do it, right?
Oh my God, it was the show.
For me, it was that show and Phantom of the Opera.
Well,
just like classic.
See, for me, it's one or the other. It's like you're either.
Oh, really?
You either like Les Mis
or
it's
like
Phantom.
Team Phantom or Team Les Mis. Oh, really? It's like Super Bowl. Imagine that Super Bowl.
So I was Team Les Mis, and
what song in Phantom would you bring out if you were in the Super Bowl with Phantom of the Opera against Les Mis? I think Les Mis. Yeah, I guess so. Theme song. Yeah. Okay, so Les Mis.
Okay, so I had just been working with Trevor Nunn, and which is really why I think I got
Trevor Nunn. You worked with Trevor Nunn. Let's
right.
just point that out.
Well,
How cool! That's awesome.
Yes, I did. I once on Sunset Boulevard,
and
nice
then
he's the best.
Come
amazing.
On,
I have no dirt on him.
Come on.
No, he was incredible. No, he's an incredible human, really smart, so good at directing. As a matter of fact, when I direct, I use a lot of my Trevor Nunnisms.
Yeah.
He really knew how to talk to people as individuals, not just sort of as blanket.
Yeah.
He was like, this is how Charlie needs to hear stuff, and he would go in, and he knew how to do that. It was very smart. Anyway,
you're pretty good at that.
I've learned it from him.
Yeah, you are always aware of how I need to hear stuff when we have our disputes.
Yeah, not only like when I'm directing you, but also in life.
In life. Does it work all the time?
No, yeah. I try. Anyway, that's digressing big time. Les Mis, I just come home from doing South Pacific on the West End or the National Theatre in London, and so they were like, "Oh, cool, she's worked with Trevor Nunn. She should be in Les Mis." So they put me in it, and literally, like 2 days after I started rehearsals, the closing notice went up. So I was like, "Sweet, box office poison. Lauren Kennedy can close any show," and so that. But the cool thing about it was that they brought Terry Mann back in to play Javert, which was really cool. And Terry was the artistic director.
From where?
The North Carolina Theater. He was the artistic director, so I've known him all of my life, and I got to play Fontaine opposite him as Javert, which was so cool.
Yep.
Anyway, I was working with Jason Moore, who was the resident director at the time. Felt really good about the show. Like I felt like, oh my God, I'm like coming into my own as an actress. I really get this. Anyway, I walk on stage. I take 2 steps on the turntable. I'm like coming on stage. The house is full. Like I could not have been happier. I was the happiest. Like I was like, this is a dream come true. Oh my God. So I'm out there singing, I dreamed a dream, holding my locket, just like beaming, smiling. So after the show, Jason Moore calls up to my dressing room. I pick
calls your dressing room.
Yeah. He's like, well, I guess there were cell phones. It was 2003. Anyway, he was like, hey, I got some notes for you. I'll be right up. And so he comes up and he's like, so listen, great job. It was really good. But you know that part where you like are a prostitute and you like sell your teeth and cut your hair and you're dying? Yeah, don't try to smile so much.
Don't be so happy. Hey.
Don't be so happy. So I was like, I couldn't help it. It was a dream come true. So I try not to smile after that. I don't know. I think it worked. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean.
So that's the story. But I'm ching.
Okay, 5001. I can't help it. I still love Aaron. That's good.
Flushing the mic down the toilet.
Yeah, let's go for
So
that.
flushing the mic down the toilet was a good one. Also Sunset Boulevard. And I was all of 20. And, I didn't know how expensive they were. Eric Collins, our sound
But
designer.
they're not that expensive.
Are they not?
No.
Microphones? This $10,000. This was $10,000. At least they told me later. So I wore my mic around my waist. Yes. Is that right?
I'm not sure we need like the diagram.
No, I'm just trying to. I bet I was holding it. No, it was around my waist. Okay, yeah, and it hangs upside down, and the Velcro was holding it together. It was like holding.
You visualizing? Are you really visualizing how?
So the Velcro was holding it in place. So, I go to use the restroom, and the Velcro comes loose, and that microphone goes right into the toilet, and I pick it up really fast. I'm like, oh my god! Oh my god!
Was this?
I was panicked.
Pre or post?
It was pre-pee. Pre-pee. And so I toweled it off, and I was like, we're getting ready to go on stage. They're like, 5-minute call, ladies and gentlemen, 5 minutes. Oh my god. So I go to the A2 backstage, and I'm like, I think I spilled water on my microphone. I'm so sorry. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, it should be fine. And he blows it out with that little air gun.
Yeah.
Yep. He's blowing it out. Yep. Puts it back in, tests it. And he's like, yeah, I think it's fine. I get out there.
Sure.
Nothing. Crickets. Just nothing but crackling.
Nothing.
No.
You got the crackle.
Crackle, but like zero, like audible.
Yeah.
Broadway stage.
Yeah.
20-year-old.
Yeah.
Mortification.
Yeah. But of course you came clean about it, though. You were just mortified. You ran right there and you admitted it. And you were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry I did this.
At intermission, I went to him and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I lied to you. And I'm like, tears streaming down my face. I dropped it in the toilet. And he was like,
yeah.
Oh.
And who paid for it?
Well, they did.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. It was a big Broadway musical. It was Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. They paid for it. Now, if somebody did that at Theater Raleigh, I would panic.
Yeah. Shut down.
Yeah. That would
they're expensive.
Yeah, they're very expensive. So that was that story. And it's I've dropped a lot.
Are you still friends with him?
I haven't seen him in a while.
After you flushed him like down the toilet?
Well, he just, we moved on.
You intercepted me after that day.
Oh.
So those are three I know. But you've also done another.
I didn't tell the Mike Nichols story, but
that's right.
You can go to Seth Rudetsky's, I don't know, like one of his shows. You can Google it.
Well, I was going to say, you do have another Broadway show on your belt. There's got to be a story from.
Well, I was also in Sideshow.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So Sunset Boulevard.
I want to do stories.
Sideshow was, honestly, it was an amazing experience for me. Because I was the original standby in the original cast for Emily Skinner. And she pulled me aside like week 1, and she was like, listen, girl, I'm not doing 8 shows a week. There's no way. This is like the hardest thing any of us will have ever sung.
Yeah,
and it's true.
That's a lot of singing.
It was so much for those 2 ladies. Very high belting.
Big
also, never left stage.
Yeah.
I couldn't have flushed my mic down the toilet on that show. I never left the stage. Never got to
yeah, right.
So I ended up doing a number of performances. I think I did like 33 out of 100. So I did a bunch of them. And my stories were just like, it just was like.
You got thrown on sometimes, right?
Well,
I guess you probably had like the understudies like, oh God, I'm not ready.
Well, I got thrown on the week we opened. Like we opened on a Friday, I went on Sunday. Friday, I went on Sunday.
And what was that like?
Well,
what was that like? What you weren't obviously like? Did you know everything, or did you have like emergency rehearsal? So you were good.
It was nuts. It was nuts. They actually ended up.
But you could smile now.
Yeah, I could. They ended up canceling the show. So here's what they did: is they were like, she's not ready. We need to do a dress rehearsal. She's never been on the stage with costumes, standing cheek to cheek with Alex Ripley. Yeah. Like, we don't want to take this chance. But they actually allowed people to just come. Like they could refund their ticket, or they could just come in and watch it. So some people came, and that was so it was fun. And there was about 50 people there that night.
No way.
And then I did the next week after that. Yeah, because she was out. But it was.
I would say, in my awareness of those years, that was a big moment for you. Yeah. It really got a lot of exposure, and kind of was probably the first time. That was right after Sunset Boulevard, right?
Yeah, I just come off the tour. Yeah.
So that would probably be the first Well, I guess in Sunset you were the
Well, I'll
understudy for
tell
the
you
girl.
why it made such a big splash. Is
Yeah.
that the show made such a big splash. Like people either like loved it or they were
Uh-huh.
like, "What is this? Why do we care?" And so it really split people down the middle. And it had such a short run, but it was like intense and that kind of thing. So it had this cult following.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was part of it, but also it was the start of the internet. Really, like that was the first time I remember people like Playbill online was the first time people started posting articles on Playbill, or chat rooms were starting to really like come into
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
And so there was that. Before then there wasn't that sort of like interaction between fans, and
I was still dial-up internet then.
it was like boop, 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 boop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Took about 10 minutes.
You got mail.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
it
it.
was great. But so I think that happened. That was part of it too. Is that all of a sudden people were reading articles, and Playbill online was a thing, and they were like, "Warren Kennedy goes on for Emily Skinner,"
Yeah,
kind of
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
So that was part of it.
Yeah. Last 5 years.
Yeah.
Last 5 years happened.
Yeah.
Jason Robert Brown,
Mm-hmm.
which became a pretty darn impactful relationship.
Yes, it was very much.
But
I had never.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know Jason at all before I went into audition.
Parade. He already had
He had already
Parade,
created
right?
and Songs for a New World.
Songs for
So
New
I
World.
had maybe been screened for Parade. I didn't go in and audition for him, but I think I auditioned for the casting directors, and that was not the thing. I didn't get callbacks, and nobody cared about me for that. But I was obsessed with Songs for a New World. I loved the album, and then the last 5 years thing came up. And apparently, so Jason loves to tell this story, is that he had come to see me play Carla in 9 at Paper Mill Playhouse when I was like 20, 21 maybe. And he thought I was terrible. He was like, thought I was miscast and terrible.
This is another good one.
He told that story in a concert one time. He was like, and she was terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Kennedy. I was like, oh. So that was funny. But so when I came in for the audition, he was like, oh yeah, that's that girl from Paper Mill. Yeah, I didn't think she was very good anyway. So he wasn't really paying much attention at first. And then I started singing The Music That Makes Me Dance, which is my go-to audition song. And he was like, oh, wait, maybe. Hold on, let me think. And so that kind of changed his mind about me. And then I had a callback. And at that point, the last 5 years, had only part of it was written. He'd only done a few demo recordings, and about half the show was written, only 5 songs for Kathy. So it was that real original experience where he was writing it for me and for my voice, and I got to spend time with him in practice rooms, and I'd learn the music, and I'd do the demos, and he'd play around with keys on my voice, and so that was so cool.
That's such a cool pocket of time
that was awesome.
To be hanging out with him.
It was truly amazing, and his music like changed my life.
Yeah, right. I mean, I always say, I think that was a shift. That was like a style shift.
Oh yeah.
In musical 100%. Theater.
Yeah.
Was his writing.
Before it was Sondheim, and
right.
He was influenced by all those people.
Sure. But like he took it to the next era.
Yeah, it was
right?
like this young voice that
and
had a real point of view.
The next movement.
Yeah.
Of writing.
I think so.
I
think so too. He and Adam Gettle a little bit too with Floyd Collins.
For sure.
But so that just changed me. I mean, I became the artist that I feel like I am today, working with him and working with his music. I'd always been looking for the music that made me
dance.
Good one. That made me sort of like, or I should say that's what I was searching for. Because as Charlie knows, I went through a writing period. Like I knew I wanted to be a recording artist and knew I wanted to do, recordings.
Oh yeah.
So I tried to do some writing and it was terrible. I was absolutely
Top
horrible.
10 Billboard charts right here.
Yeah, not at all. But I was very interested in it. And so I was just looking for what that was going to be. And so ultimately when I was, we had done the last 5 years in at North Light Theater in Chicago, in Skokie actually. And when we were in rehearsal still though in New York, I got cast to do Nellie Forbush in South Pacific in London.
Right.
And we didn't have a theater for the last 5 years in New York yet because there was drama with Lincoln Center was supposed to do it. There was drama there. And so I was like, I don't know what to do. I had to, of course, go and do South Pacific. And then in the meantime, they got a theater, and that's when, they ended up doing it without me. But the good part of that is if I had ended up doing the show in New York, I wouldn't have felt the need to continue my collaboration with him so desperately that I literally emailed him randomly, and I was like, Jason, like, I'm thinking about doing an album. I'm thinking about maybe doing your songs. What do you think? Is that cool? And he wrote back and he was like, sure, great, that'd be great. He was like, I'll help you.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, like what? I was like, really? Oh shit, now I have to do it. Sorry, can I not cuss? Sorry. So anyway, I did it, and he helped me, and we did it. We produced it together, and I kind of always say that's what sort of made me the producer I am today. That's how I learned to be a producer.
Okay. All right.
Producer
because
and
just going
artist.
in the studio and like just being on that side of it.
Yeah.
It's probably inappropriate to talk about age, but how old were you when you did the last 5 years?
27. 27.
I mean, that moment's like, right? Like when you really start feeling your feet, right?
Yeah.
Like you spend so many of those first years in New York, like even when you're working, I feel like you're always trying to like emulate somebody. I know that was me for a long time. Like I was like, wanted to be like this person, or I wanted to sound like that person. And if I did this like this person, then I'll get the job or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that moment of identity is so specific in the journey of it all.
Oh, totally.
I mean, you just worked with so many people. I mean, really, like all jokes aside, I mean, you worked with, I mean, I think that they're still like some of the most relevant people. Andrew Lloyd Webber, Trevor Nunn, Mike Nichols. I mean, you worked with all these like founding,
Jason Moore, who directed Pitch Perfect.
Yeah, Jason Moore, Jason Robert Brown. I mean, you
Jason
really
Brown.
work with some of the people that have the most like influential like shows. So can you pick like the thing that sticks out the most from the pool?
Not really. I mean,
it's just a culmination, right?
Yeah, I mean, every experience sort of set me up for the next one too.
It's like, yeah, right.
I definitely think of it as like a stair step. But if I was really to hone it down, I mean, I think Jason Robert Brown was the most influential for me, for sure.
Yeah, well, so personal too, right?
Yeah, because we were friends and we collaborated on not only the show, but other shows after. I did a lot of readings and workshops of his other shows that he did after last 5 years, and we did the album together. And he's just a friend and somebody I relied on and trusted artistically. And the way he approached the work and the way he approached how he felt about his own work, like it was so interesting. Like when we did the album, I'm trying to find the words for it, but like when we did the album, he was like, listen, Lauren, you're how old? 28? It doesn't have to be the best thing you're ever going to do. It just has to be the best thing you're going to do right now.
Yeah, cool.
And I loved that because
perspective.
Yeah, because we spend a lot of time being
especially
like,
that when we're in our 20s too. Like we just don't have any perspective on we're so in the moment, especially when you're trying to forge that career too. Yeah. Like it is literally like the step in front of you is all that is in play.
Yes, totally. Cool. And it gives you like, and for young artists who are always think, oh, I've got this one chance and if I blow it, I'm screwed. Yeah. Sorry, I keep dropping inappropriate words.
I think that was okay.
Okay.
There's a list somewhere.
But I think that what was interesting about working with him is like what I said about the fact that he saw me in a show and didn't think I was very good, and then gave me a second chance in an audition, and it changed his mind. So my point, the moral of the story is that you always think, oh, I'm going to ruin my chances, but the truth is you're not. You just have to be as good as you are in the moment you are in at that time, and just be true to yourself and be the best version, like you were just saying, best version of you, not like second-rate version of somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like you, I was trying
to have to bring your own voice to it all, and that because it reads, right? I mean, and that's the thing you learn by watching on the other side of it now, right? It's like you really see that, and you're like when somebody's not like honest with themselves and speaking from their own heart, you can tell.
Yeah.
The shows.
Yeah. It's so interesting though.
Yeah.
Because I think we spend our lives categorizing.
Totally.
Like, oh, who am I like, and how do I?
Even I feel that exists even in like college programs. Not to like
100%.
Be critical of college programs, but like I know that like I was always compared to like the people that came before. You start like they're and I'm sure like especially like that like there's things the types that kind of just rotate a little bit.
Yeah.
But that does kind of start that groove of like, oh, you're going to be like that guy. Oh, you're going to be like that guy.
And then it just gets in your head.
You're like, oh, well, I guess that's what I should start like getting good at or whatever,
Yeah.
God, I don't feel like I really like started really understanding myself until mid-30s, mid to late 30s.
Really?
I mean, sure, 35 probably is when I really started, like, I felt like I was always doing it for somebody else in a lot of ways.
So
You know what I mean?
I do.
I wanted that person to think I was good or whatever, to give me the job.
Yeah, you were trying
whatever.
to deliver something.
Deliver, yeah, exactly. And I just.
And I think that I have a similar experience to what you're just saying too. And kind of when you say 35, it's sort of when you were starting to take a step away.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And honestly,
well, the pressure's off, right?
That happened to me
yeah.
too. I feel like I'm a better actor and singer now than I ever was when I cared about it. You know, now I don't really care as much.
You're free, I know.
And it's not like, oh my God, I'm white knuckling this.
And that's what the beauty of I find being around here and being in a regional community like this is that, like, not that there's not pressure to deliver and be at the best of your game, but like there's a different culture, you know, when it's like that. It's so much money involved, and it's such a business, and it's so corporate too, that you're not necessarily perceived as a human being, I think.
Well, and they're nervous.
And you're a product.
Yeah.
And not that that doesn't exist, but it's just when you get away from, like, the eagle eye and, like, the laser focus of everybody breathing down your back at all times, and you don't feel like failure is ever an option. Like, you know, we know that the best work comes from failing a million times at something. Absolutely. I feel like around here, when you get out of that pocket, you have the ability to fail, and nobody's being like, oh, they're going to not be good. Yeah, exactly. You know, and it breeds a more supportive, artistic product. And ultimately more creative. Yeah. Exactly. I think there's a lot of great work that's coming out of this area. Yeah. It's exciting to watch it grow. Yes. Before we get into next chapters, I gotta get a little dirt. Oh no. I gotta ask a little dirt. I gotta get a little dirt on some famous people. Oh, no. Oh, come on, man. Come on, this is live. No, people want to know these things. I already said a bad word. Okay, so you've kissed a lot of guys. You've been played opposite a lot of guys. I feel secure enough to talk about this. Who has the worst breath? Oh, come on now. Oh my God. Come on now. Come on. Everybody wants to know. No, who has the worst breath? No, most actors are good at, like, gargling. Oh, hi, Ruby's here. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, Ruby. And Ruby. Can you tell Ruby? I don't know if you can see her without. Hi, Ruby. Hi, Ruby. You want to ask her any questions? Everybody's really good at, you know, Altoids and Listerine. Come on. I had no worries, but I will let the names be. It wasn't me. It's just here. It's just like third party. But I know some people who may have been eating sardines before they went out and kissed their leading lady on the Broadway stage. To be a jerk, or just because they like sardines? Awareness. Just because they like sardines. Energy. Oh no! Oh God! So not everybody. You got lucky then, I think. Come on, there's been a couple people I've smelled things. You're not gonna say, are you? Well, I won't say who, but I definitely have smelled things that where people should not be doing before a show, like drinking for sure. Oh yeah, wow. Things like that. So what are some of the well, this gets a little dicey. Not all of these stories are probably suited for a live audience. But what are some of the, like, what's like top like backstage shenanigans that you can remember? Oh suitable for a live audience. I know, I'm just trying to think. And you gotta weed through, like, all the inappropriate stuff. Well, when I was backstage shenanigans, this was on stage shenanigans. Oh, great. Well, like, the Brits are really, they like their big jokes. Time about they like their brains, right? Lots of brains. Yeah. So when I was doing South Pacific on the, you know, the National Theatre stage in London, number one, we played a game called Pass the Limp, which, so, yeah, you when somebody touched their ear in a scene with you, you had to limp the rest of the scene. Yeah. Okay, so that was good. Also, I will say this, so this will be funny, and I hope he's watching. Youth of America, take note. The guy who's watching, he who played Billis in our production of South Pacific, he lit his fart before we went on stage. And by the way, I love it. I hope he's watching because he is on Facebook. Literally when that happened, I had this memory
of being in the National Theater in the audience, like in the second balcony when I was like 13. I had come on like a theater trip with my family, and we came to see Bartholomew Fair at the National Theater, and I was like, oh my God, this theater's amazing. No, I was just like, this theater, like what a dream to work here. Now, what I didn't dream was that when I did work it, that somebody would be laying there far backstage.
Yeah.
I didn't think that would happen.
Yeah.
That was
it's all smoke and mirrors, isn't it? It is all smoke and mirrors.
interesting.
I mean, sometimes you think that maybe they should produce the show that's happening backstage
I mean,
instead of
it's
what's
a
on stage.
lot more interesting for sure.
Okay.
I could tell when Kate Winslet walked in.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
When I was doing
Heard this one
Spamalot.
too. It's a good one.
When I was doing
forgot this one.
Spamalot, I was doing it with Simon Russell Beale played the king at that point. By the way, I got to also do it with
Really
Hank
nice.
Azaria and David Hyde Pierce, so that was a really cool time for me.
Just get those names.
Yeah, I dropped them. But so I was sharing a hallway dressing room with like Hank Azaria and Simon Russell Beale, and Sam Mendes,
Yeah.
the famous director.
Yeah.
Is friends with Simon, and his wife at the time, Kate Winslet. They came to see the show.
Yeah.
Support Simon. How did I do?
I said, as you do.
As you do, yes, as you do. So they were visiting, and then he was like, "Oh, you can go down to where Lauren's dressing room is." It was out in the hall. Sure enough, I was sitting on the toilet, and
Yes.
Kate Winslet.
Because why would you lock the door?
Well, I didn't think anybody else was on the hall because it was the only bathroom. And
That's our
everybody else.
guard dog, by the way. Ruby. Sorry, this is real life happening. Now we are.
Ruby,
This is living room life.
She's trying to protect. Anyway, so I was on the toilet peeing post show, and all of a sudden Kate Winslet walks in. She walks in and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You were so good. You're amazing. Your voice is amazing. It's wonderful."
Good one.
Just
I think Ruby hijacked your story.
that's all right. It's fine. No problem.
All right, so let's go to current day.
Okay.
So let's talk about transition. How'd you get to theater producer actor?
Well, okay. The album with Jason Robert Brown was a big one.
Yeah.
That made me feel
Nice.
like
Nice. Just had a spill in her own house.
we could have not said that. Like nobody would have known.
She just spilled her water on the rug.
It's just water.
And it's gonna sit there
We're gonna
until
leave
we're done.
We're leaving it. It's fine. It's water. It's not like red wine.
You may even come over and see the stain of water.
It's falling apart.
Now you'd
Maybe
be
it
like,
should
"Oh, I
be
saw
over. So doing the album sort of made me realize I really wanted to like have more of an input in the canon of theater, and I really wanted to support new writers. So that was sort of the impetus when I took over what my dad and my brother had been doing called Hot Summer Nights at the Kennedy.
Mhm.
And, they sort of got tired of it after 3 years. They were like, "Oh, we have other jobs and other things to do. This is not what we want." And I was like, "I'll do it." And so from New York, from my dining room table in New York, I just started producing the theater. Like I had to start from scratch though, and like get insurance and start an LLC at that point.
And is it just as easy as you probably thought it was?
Oh, so
I mean, seriously, like, what was that part of it though for you? Were you just like, I'll figure it out, or like, did you like take a second to like think about what it might be? I mean, like, what was your point of reference for thinking that was going to be?
Well,
I mean, it seems like it was pretty.
I'm super impulsive.
Yeah.
I'm super impulsive, as you know, and so I just went for it. I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." I mean, I had directed some shows.
Yeah.
And I felt like I knew what went into it, and I knew I had some friends who were producing theater, and
Sure.
that I could rely on and ask. And what Michael and my dad had done with Hot Summer Nights at the Kennedy, they had sort of garnered a little bit of a nice base of people who thought it was a great idea.
And set up that like base model, right?
Well, so I took those emails and I just started emailing people, you know, and the fundraising part was a whole, side, part that I was like, oh, I didn't really think out through it. That's gonna be hard. How are we paying for this? But I just kind of dove in. I did the deep dive, and I was really happy, and I actually really loved it. I took to it pretty well from the get-go.
Yeah. I mean, the fundraising though, like, seems like it ultimately would be like something that you would, you were good at naturally because you're so personable and charming. And I mean, did you like it, or did you feel like an actor sometimes doing it? I mean, like, did you have connections like that?
Yeah, you still do to a certain extent. You're like, okay, I'm putting on that role. Not that it's disingenuous, but it's just that it's hard to ask people for money.
Yeah, totally.
It's hard to be like, hey, I think you really should love theater, and
Yeah.
here's why, and here's how
So
much
you're having
money
to
I'm
like
going to
convince people that.
Yeah, and when you're we became a nonprofit in 2014, and that sort of helped because you get a tax deduction.
Yeah.
At first, it was just asking people to run it through their marketing departments or whatever. But even raising money for a nonprofit is harder than like a human service charity.
Sure.
It's people either want it because they want to be the access to people who are fancy on Broadway, or they want it because their children love theater, or they love children. It's just, you have to find your way into the people who are going to give money to the arts.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was a little shy to ask, like, to just be like, so we need $5,000, whatever. It just took me a second to get the nerve.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it long enough, so now it feels okay. And I also feel like we're doing really good work that I'm really proud of. And so that helps me ask people for money too.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, no, this is great. We're doing great stuff, not only with our like camps and classes, but also our high quality theater where people are, we're bringing great people in.
What do you think, coming, I mean, I know you talked about having experience with Jason and like producing the albums and stuff, and you kind of that glimpse into like what it is to, create something from those angles. But like, a lot of producers aren't actors, not in the capacity that you've been. What do you think that specific? What do you take from that you have that maybe a producer doesn't have the same tool that you have? Not that it's better or worse, just different. But like, what do you think you bring from your acting career into like perspective, experience? Like, how does it get into this theatrical skill or producing skill?
The main thing is treating actors a certain way.
Yeah.
And so I think when you treat actors a certain way, you respect them, give them a really good time, show them a great time, and not only in the rehearsal studio, but in their housing and in the car. The way that you treat them when they are flying from New York and be here, and you're hosting them for a month or so. Yeah, because I've done it, and I think you get better performances out of people because you care. I think they can tell. And so that, I think, is a big part of what an actor, as of now producer, brings to the table. Also, maybe, sort of talking to patrons in the lobby and not being shy, being an extrovert and being able to have a real family-oriented feel, that the people who come see our shows feel like they're part of the family, and they are.
Very present.
Because I'm present. I'm there all the time, and I'm used
connecting with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm used to being at the show. Like, I'm used to like going to shows all the time. As a producer, sometimes people don't end up going after it's open.
Yeah.
But I'm there all the time just because it's just my routine. So I think those are the main ones.
Yeah. What do we think about the future of Theater Raleigh?
What do we think?
I mean, let's talk about actually coronavirus for a hot second, because it's just such a specific pocket. While obviously, there's a lot of negative things going on, and we're all trying to do our best navigating those things. I think it's impacted everybody from all different angles. I mean, I can't imagine like one person that has not had some sort of impact from it, right? But it is creating a rather interesting movement within the theater world, like all over, not even just here. What do you see that this is going to? What do you see that the theater community is going to take from this moment? That's going to stick, right? Because obviously we got to get back to doing live shows.
Yes.
I mean, that's the most important. That's the priority.
Yeah. But
what do you think is gonna stick from this?
Because I don't think anything can ever replace live.
No. And the truth is that, I mean, I do think people have been searching for that like virtual delivery
100.
of theatrical content. This is, I mean, everybody is just like doing their spin on something. There's a lot of different takes out there.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of great things that can happen out of this horrible and scary situation. In terms of how we're able to continue to do our business and what we're going to learn during this time to augment the business later. I think part of it is we'll be utilizing these platforms of interviews more as a marketing tool or as an access tool. And like you and I have talked about the Living Room Live, continuing to do it throughout our summer season when we're able to start back producing, to highlight local artists and the artists that we're bringing from New York. And I think it activates interest. So, and I think as a patron, when you feel like you know somebody or you have a window into them, when you come see the live performance, you'll enjoy it in a newer and deeper level because you've heard them tell stories and you've heard them talk and you've heard them sing from, our living room or whatever. And I think that's a really important part for the patron experience and the enjoyment. So I think that's going to be helpful. And I think also the class education component that everybody's really glommed onto as a way for accessibility, because not everybody can come to our rehearsal studios and take a class, whether they have transportation issues or even sort of physical issues. We can augment our classes and our camps and things like that with some virtual programming where people can be involved, which I think is cool.
Do you want to give a little plug with what you got coming up?
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
so this week,
it's funny how that like a lot of people don't have a lot to do, but there are some people, Lauren included, I feel like have gotten busier since this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, because
people are just looking for the new ways.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, journalists and people who are doing online stuff and just like content. Crazy. So this week for our virtual experiences and virtual classes, we're going to be having a vocal warm-up class at 3 p.m. with Angela Santucci, who's a music director, a theater artist, and a voice teacher and a piano teacher. So she's going to be doing a 30-minute warm-up for anybody who wants to learn how to do a great vocal warm-up. We're saying ages 8 to 18 for that class. And then on Thursday, we are doing Living Room Live here, right here in this living room.
We're going to turn the camera that way.
And our special guest is going to be John Arthur Green, who is a Raleigh native who has gone on to do awesome stuff on Broadway. We both know him from New York, as well as I know him from here.
About to be in company.
Yeah, he's about to be in company when the shutdown is over. He was in Matilda, the musical rock. He was in West Side Story, the other revival that's not happening now. Ton of stuff. Tons of stuff. And
Killer
he's
voice.
Super amazing. I know he does a lot of his own recording and songwriting, and he's going to be singing from his living room in New York City. So we're so excited about that. And then also on Friday, we are doing a master class with Broadway and Wicked star Julia Murney, who has directed a couple of shows for us here at Theater Raleigh. She's going to be doing a class called Performing a Song, which she'll coach the participants. Only 10 participants to sign up now, and it'll be on like a Zoom call like this, and you'll supply your track. You get to sing for her. She'll give you some adjustments and some notes. She'll tell you you can do it better, vocal tips as well, and then you get to sing it again in front of all your peers on the Zoom call. So
I mean, how cool is that?
I mean, it's awesome.
I mean, how cool is that?
And that's only $40.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Broadway
just like that is one of the coolest things. I mean, I guess it's one of those things where it's like we could have been doing this the whole time.
I know, right? And we should keep doing it.
But like the fact that it makes it that easy, like I mean, it's cool that like that's one of the things that Theater Raleigh's I think cool about is like you get a good pool of like Broadway talent to come down and share experiences with the people who live here and blend all of that. But this like digital things, you don't even have to bring her down there.
I know. I mean, talking about cost.
I mean, you just like saved the flight,
housing, rental cars,
I mean,
all that stuff. Yeah, she's just like from the comfort of her home.
I mean, I love it.
It's great. I mean, she's very excited to do it.
But this makes it even that much more accessible too, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly. Like we have learned that now. Like, oh, why haven't we?
Yeah.
And why don't we keep doing it? And we'll have a number of these for the next 4 weeks. We have classes like this planned with other Broadway stars and other Theater Raleigh favorites. Everything from how to self-tape to the business of show, like how to be an actor in New York working on Broadway, that kind of thing, and other coaching classes. So we're really excited about those opportunities.
I mean, what's that Instagram post that keeps going around? I can't remember the saying, but it's like, remember what was there when everything else was shut down? It's the arts. And I mean, it's just like, it really is true. Like you can do art and perform in lots of different ways. I mean, what other industries are able to fill this time and make something out of it?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's so funny.
granted, people are making masks and saving lives, but like, you know, I mean, it's
No,
not doing their own thing though, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's our part. That's the
Yeah.
way that we feel like we can help during this time. Because, like you said, in the time during this pandemic and any time that's been a struggle in America, people need the arts. You need that more than ever. And, you know, people read books, see movies, watch Netflix, you know, so we're doing our part to offer some entertainment as well. It's so funny. Our friend and Theater Raleigh patron, Todd Foreman, wrote on Facebook the other day. He was like, my calendar has gotten so busy. Everybody's doing so much virtual stuff. That like every night he's watching something.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so there you go.
Well, I just have like one more question,
Okay.
and then we can pick it
Hand
back
it back
up.
over.
What do you say to 10-year-old, 12-year-old Lauren about what's to come, about what to expect?
I'm going to tell her to stop eating so much candy.
Yeah. I mean,
well, she had a lot.
Doesn't matter.
A lot of candy, a lot of sugar. I had a lot of cavities. And I would tell her to slow down. Just there's no rush. There's no rush. I was always in such a rush to become an adult, to become a professional performer, to get to Broadway, to get to the next thing. I should probably tell 46-year-old Lauren to like slow down too, because I do a lot of things very fast. I don't know why I feel like I'm running out of time. That's a good piece of advice, I think, for any aspiring artist, is that Broadway is always going to be there. You know, there's even during times like this where you think, oh my God, what's going to happen? It's gone in and out of a lot of tricky periods of time throughout history, and it will always be there. People will always want to come see shows, and if you have talent to share, just keep at it and keep learning and take your time. There's no rush.
Good.
Yeah, that's it.
Yoda would have said it better.
She would have said it backwards. Hi, Lauren.
Hey.
I'm so glad you guys did this.
Hey, 30 on the dot.
I actually have a couple of questions. I have a couple of questions, and then some folks on Facebook have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
But one question I have for both of you, and for you, Lauren, is,
put the nice shoes on for this one.
I'm very I mean, I've been to your house and it's lovely, but your mom, you have beautiful daughter, and I'm kind of wondering, being a working parent, how you juggle that career family balance, because I think that's something we're all feeling right now, especially now that the kids are home all the time.
Wait till we have to start being teachers next week while they're doing their at-home learning. I mean, how do you balance it? That is a great question. I just think, you're never ready for it. It's never the right time. You just have to sort of do it and figure it out. I felt like it really helped me, kind of in the way I was saying before, like the less I cared about or white knuckled my career, the better it was for me. So if I am diversified in my life, it's actually helpful. So I'm sure, a lot of times I'm doing everything subpar. I kind of wish sometimes I was doing one thing really amazingly, but I feel like I'm doing 1,000 things just kind of like pretty good. I just, that's the hard part about, being somebody who has a lot of interests. But Riley is an amazing child, and she has been a very easy person to be a mother to. And, she's been a joy, and I think that's just, made me a better person and made me a better performer. And I've also had help,
She was also exposed to it so young too, I think, and she was in a groove. You went away working as an actress, regional theaters. I mean,
Absolutely.
Most of an actor's career is out of town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're always going around. So I mean, I think that she was kind of conditioned to expect a certain level of, moving parts all the time from a young age. That probably helps a little bit.
So she's very flexible.
Yeah, she's very self-sufficient.
Yeah,
too.
very self-sufficient. Being an only child. Yeah. That's my answer to that, I think.
And the other thing I love is my mom is my theater buddy, and so we come to see Theater Raleigh plays. and your mom is always there at
Oh, yeah.
opening night. And you're-
Yeah, they got their season tickets opening night.
yeah. So were your parents always supportive about the career?
100%, like amazingly supportive. They loved theater. I mean, my sister and I started doing shows when we were little kids because my parents were doing shows. I mean, my mom and dad were in RLT's production of Maine in like 1980. That was me. I got to see my mom playing like a prostitute, walking across stage smoking a cigarette. I mean, and if anybody knows my mom, you're like, that's not Sarah Lynn. And she danced in A Christmas Carol. I mean, that's why we got into this, because they loved it. And now, as soon as my sister Catherine and my little brother Michael and I started doing theater, she became just like mom, and she didn't do it anymore. But they loved theater so much. They'd take us to New York, and we'd see 5 shows in 4 days, and just go nuts. And believe me, like, you see my mom at opening night or theater rally shows, but when I did Mamma Mia, she was there every night. She didn't miss one. I think we did 9 performances. She came to every single one. So, just saying. She loves it, very sportive. I couldn't be luckier.
I love that. Brittany wanted to know, well, Brittany had a comment, and then I'm going to add to the comment. The bad thing about you not doing last 5 years in New York is we don't have a recording of you and Norbert singing the next 10 minutes. Are there cast recordings that you've done? Because I love an original Broadway cast recording. Are there those cast recordings that we can hear Lauren Kennedy on?
Yeah, well, I'm on the cast recording of Sunset Boulevard. As I played Mary, was my role. It was very small, tiny little part, but I am on it. And I was also on the cast album of South Pacific, the London cast album, like Forbush. I also was on the cast album of Vanities that we did off Broadway in 2009. So you can hear me on that. A couple other ones. I think something called Good Old Girls that I did off Broadway. There's a cast album of that. And I didn't do Sideshow because I was a standby. So yeah, those are really it. And then my solo albums.
And then you have your own albums.
Yeah.
Melissa wants to know, for both of you, because Charlie, we kind of put you in the interview seat here, but you are, I saw you in Mamma Mia. You can sing. You were in South Pacific. Do you both have any dream roles?
Well, for me, I guess I got to do one. I mean, I always was obsessed with Miss Saigon. I just, it was one of those like Les Mis shows for me. I guess I was in high school when it came out, but it was just always one of those. I think I sang Why God Why for my audition for college, and I think I snuck it in. I snuck it in right before I got too old for it. In fact, I probably was too old for it. Let's just be real. Because then the revival happened, and I was like, I had just gotten done with it. And I was like, too old? And they're like, yeah, too old. I was like, okay.
You have a baby.
But no, I got to do that. I got to do Christmas. That was. I always wanted to do Billy Bigelow and Carousel too.
You can still do that.
That one might still be out there for me, maybe. But yeah.
His voice. Oh my God. It's so
smoke
good.
and mirrors.
No, it's not. It's
so auto tune.
It's ridiculously good.
The last question I have for you guys is I put together a Spotify playlist, which I shared this morning, to honor the summer season you have coming up, because I look forward to your summer season every year. So can you talk about the summer and what's happening, and are there any plans to move shows around or shift things around at this point?
Yeah, well, right now we have postponed our first show of the season into the Breaches, which was supposed to start rehearsals on a week from today. So that we are putting into September. So those dates are already set. And then I guess my next decision is whether we will take Fun Home and put that again at the end of the season as well, which would maybe, I haven't made my decision yet though. I'm kind of waiting to see what happens in the next couple weeks. So that may be in June or it may be in October. but I'm going to do all the shows. It would only be a postponement, not a cancellation, because we will just be able to do that. We'll be able to go into the fall. It won't really be the summer season anymore, but I still want to offer the shows that we promised our patrons. And we've already taken people's money for season subscriptions and stuff like that.
And all the people who are having their jobs. Right?
Exactly. So
keeping those people's jobs.
Yeah, Into the Breaches, all the actors except for one is able to do the production that we'll now do in September. And if I have to move Fun home, I'll be reaching out to those actors as well. Hopefully everybody can do it. Yeah. So it's tricky. It's a weird time, but we also have Oh What a Night, which Charlie's directing after that.
That's right.
At their train station, and we're going to do that new Piece of Clay, which we commissioned in July and August, and not finish out the season now, but with Chicago, we'll do that in August. So we have exciting things to look forward to once we get through this tricky time. And hopefully everybody's staying safe and healthy and inside.
Stay home.
Inside so we can
Just
get
stay
through
home.
this.
We can get back to the theater. And I would say, for folks who haven't been to the Theater Raleigh, to the Kennedy Theater, it is, the lovely thing about it is it's kind of like the equivalent of a black box, if you think of it. It's behind the Duke Energy Center, but it doesn't have the seating capacity of Maimandi or the other venues. It's a really small, intimate space, and these big Broadway stars come, and you're very close, in close proximity to them. So I do think it's a good value for your money. And if you want to see good talent, that's a good place to go in the summer, especially. So I'm sorry I have to put the plug out there, because
I love a plug. Thanks for the plug.
It's a good place to see theater.
It's part of my passion is to offer theater where you can be in close proximity to Broadway stars like Julia Murdy or Charlie Brady or Janine DeVita, and all these people that we're able to bring from New York. They're standing 10 feet away, doing their art. And you get to it's very visceral. So thank you for that plug. It's what I'm proud of. Lauren, I think you should let me, in like a couple weeks, interview Charlie, because he has a lot of amazing stories, a lot of Broadway stories. He went to college with I care. Lauren cares. All our viewers care.
Okay, everyone on Facebook, I think you should give us some hearts or thumbs up if you want to see Lauren interview Charlie, because I think that's a wonderful one-on-one.
I'll have to make up some stories.
Yeah, we're getting like 1,000 hearts, so it's
See, Charlie. And Charlie and I definitely had met way before we got married. Years ago, we worked together at the Muni when he was 19 and I was like 25, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
We got to share a stage then.
There were some successful people in that ensemble.
Oh yeah.
There was Telly Leon was in that ensemble with me.
Well, by the way, he went to school with like all the famous people. Like everybody who's famous went to Carnegie Mellon.
I really feel like I took a step back so everybody else could shine and let all the other people take the glory. I just clapped. I'm just like, you go.
No.
All right. Well, it's gonna have to happen because everybody's doing hearts. Yolanda's saying we care. Lots of
inside like 15 minutes.
So, and Jesse, I'm gonna put you in charge of finding the what was it? Kid
Incorporated.
Incorporated. Jesse, you find the YouTube video so we can share it.
I'll send it to you. I have the link.
Let Jesse get heart.
And I love this, and I love that you guys could do this together for me and do this on RDU on stage. And I love that people got to see you at home and see you kind of just being yourselves.
Well, thank you for inviting us to do it, and thank you, Charlie, for listening to all the stories like over and over and over. Thank you for interviewing me and sounding like you're still interested in what I have to offer.
I do want to put a plug out. So tomorrow at 7 p.m., I will be with Laurel Harris from Jagged Little Pill.
I should have mentioned Laurel Harris. She's also an awesome Raleigh native, gone on to do amazing.
Yes, so she will be with me on Instagram Live, and just to turn her background to Theater Raleigh, Abby O'Brien, who worked on that show as well, is choreographing Chicago, right?
Directing and choreographing, yeah.
Directing, so there you go. There's another Raleigh tie.
Oh,
Anyway, thank you guys. For those of you who joined us late, I know some of you popped on here late. I will put the full video out on our website. It'll be up tomorrow. Please consider donating to Theater Raleigh and all of the theaters who are spending time with us, because they need your help as we navigate this pandemic. And that way they can keep producing live theater. So thank you guys.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for all that you're doing for everybody too right now.
Yeah, you're nailing it.
Oh, thank you. And thanks everyone on Facebook for watching, and I will see you tomorrow night.